Hello and welcome to Wednesday's programme.
Your headlines tonight. A report finds safety failures at Dartmoor prison exposed inmates and staff to dangerous levels of radioactive gas.
Cuts to Devon libraries could be halted as the council considers a U-turn.
Set to soar over Exmoor, plans to release up to 20 young eagles into the national park.
And comedian Josh Widdicombe tells us what the West Country means to him.
It's brilliant. It's so good being here. I absolutely love it.
Good evening. First tonight, the Prison and Probation Service is facing a reprimand after inmates and staff at Dartmoor prison were exposed to dangerous levels of radioactive radon gas. The prison has been closed since 2024.
But in a new report, the Health and Safety Executive said safety failures by the prison service meant people were left breathing in high levels of radiation for a prolonged period. Well, Jackie Bird is live for us outside Dartmoor prison tonight. Jackie, how significant is today's announcement?
Well, Alex, this is the most severe penalty that the Health and Safety Executive can impose on a government body, and that's the important part here. It's very unusual that they put these in place. The last one was back in 2022, but the significance here is that it found that the prison service failed to adequately manage the radon exposure here at Dartmoor prison. Now, radon is a radioactive gas. It's found naturally and it very often comes from granite. Dartmoor prison, as you can probably see behind me, is built of granite. It's built on a bedrock of granite. Many of the properties in the surrounding area are subject to radon testing, particularly when they're being bought and sold. Now, Dartmoor prison was tested for radon gas back in 2020 and found that it had higher than the recommended levels of radon gas within it. It wasn't reported to the HSC until 2023, and it was 2024 when the last of the prisoners left Dartmoor prison. Now, I said that this is quite an unusual case. Usually when we talk about health and safety examinations, they are relating to private companies and they're very often associated with financial penalties. That won't be the case in this case, but there is a class action that is going on between Dartmoor prisoners and former prison officers here at Dartmoor prison against the Ministry of Justice, and no doubt this will count in their favour when that action takes place.
OK, Jackie, thank you for the update. Jackie Bird reporting live there for us.
Now, Devon's library opening hours could be protected under new plans being put to the county council.
Well, it was feared they could be cut back significantly in a bid to save money, but a public consultation on the plans attracted tens of thousands of responses, and the library service could now get extra investment. Bob Cruz has more.
The thought of major cutbacks in opening hours seems to have motivated Devon's library users to have their say. More than 25,000 people filled in the consultation survey, far more than the County Council was expecting, and the subject that generated the strongest response? Opening hours.
I knew the libraries in Devon are under threat, and I'm not sure that they necessarily appreciate how many people use it.
When the council's cabinet meets to make its decision, there will be three options: reducing total staffed hours by 30%, reducing hours by 10%, or making no change to the current staffed hours at all, and that's the one they'll now be urged to go for.
My preference is that we protect those existing opening hours and we actually invest more in our library service, invest in transformation and making the most of those opportunities that have come out of the consultation, work with our communities and make them resilient into the future.
Libraries have diversified, offering Lego clubs, knitting sessions, even disco nights for the over 60s, all aimed at keeping these spaces relevant when perhaps the concept of borrowing a physical book is becoming less so.
Used them a lot as a child myself and my own children, but unfortunately not a place I go now. I'm a big reader, but I tend to read books from, the charity shops.
I think it's very important. I used to work in education, and as far as developing your mind and your thought processes and your dreams, your hopes and aspirations, absolutely, definitely need libraries.
I think older people especially, that might be the only time they're out in the week, and it gets them something to get up and get out for.
The new proposal includes £1 million of extra investment, as well as enhancing out-of-hours access, recruiting more volunteers, and even doing away with fines for returning books late, something which can put people off using the service in the first place.
We've been known for our innovation for the last 10 years, and this is an opportunity to continue doing that for the next 10 years. And that's what we want to do, and what our customers and staff and volunteers all want to do too. So, yeah, onwards and upwards.
The Council's Cabinet will meet to make its decision and decide the future for Devon's libraries next Wednesday. Bob Cruz, ITV News.
Well, from library services to tourist taxes and water quality. Today, many of the issues facing us here in the West Country were in the spotlight as the King opened Parliament.
Amid the leadership speculation surrounding Sir Keir Starmer, King Charles outlined the bills ministers want to pass in the coming year. Let's head to Westminster and join our political correspondent, Alicia Fitzgerald. We're going to talk about Keir Starmer in a moment, Alicia, but what was the main takeaway from today?
Well, look, the King's speech isn't normally a big bombshell moment full of breaking news, but what it is a chance for the King on behalf of the government to outline all of their plans for the year ahead, a chance to showboat all of the things they want to do to help the country. Today was slightly different though, because on the same day there was a slight overshadow of this potential leadership contest that could or could not happen in the future. We heard about all sorts of policies the government want to push ahead with more robust regulations to water companies who spill sewage into our waterways, all sorts of things that really matter to people in the West Country, but it did feel overall like this ceremony was a little bit overshadowed today.
I think it was very overshadowed, wasn't it? Not the easiest week for government, full stop. So one thing, Starmer's future as a Prime Minister, that's what everybody's talking about. What have our MPs been saying?
Well, exactly. I mean, today was a day where the King was outlining the plans for the year ahead, but the undercurrent was whether or not the Prime Minister will even make it that long. There is a growing number of MPs who are saying that they need a new leader to take us into the next election. But I'd say overall in the West Country, the majority of Labour MPs seem to actually be on side. The general point of view amongst the people in our region is that changing leader would just cause too much drama and too much chaos, and that sticking with Keir Starmer is the best thing to do. One of those MPs is Perrin Moon. He was actually one of the people who organised the gathering of all the people to kind of sign their allegiance to Keir Starmer.
Well, look, we've just announced today that with the King's speech a legislative programme. If we go into a leadership battle, the entire programme is put on hold, it's put on ice. We will see the markets reacting very unfavourably. That is not what we were elected to do 2 years ago. And so I will very much hope that colleagues who have got doubts now see sense and make sure that we are delivering.
And Perrin Moon's view is very much echoed amongst other MPs in the southwest. A lot of people really weighing up whether all of this is worth it. Of course, we don't yet have any other formal leadership bids looking to replace Keir Starmer, but I mean the next 24 hours and even looking ahead to the next few weeks are going to be really critical, and Starmer will be hoping that the number of MPs supporting him grows and that that's enough to keep him through to the next election.
You are absolutely right, Alicia, and we love that you're keeping Westminster local for us as well. Thank you.
And there'll be much more on today's events in Westminster when the ITV News continues after us at 6:30. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, the PM says he has full confidence in Wes Streeting, despite reports of a leadership challenge, as the King made his speech to Parliament. The Parliamentary Standards Watchdog has launched an investigation into Nigel Farage over an undeclared £5 million gift. And the Princess of Wales begins her 2-day visit to Italy, her first overseas since her cancer diagnosis. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Now, the number of heat pumps being installed in people's homes here in the West Country have more than trebled in the past 7 years. They use heat from the air or ground and are being touted as the greener alternative to gas-powered boilers.
But what many people will be wondering at the moment is, because it can cost thousands to have one fitted, are they really cost-effective for homeowners? Well, Nick Smith has the second of our special reports on renewable energy.
In the midst of a climate change crisis and global instability affecting energy markets, reducing reliance on fossil fuel imports has been pushed to the forefront. Much of that starts within the home. More than 5,500 heat pumps were installed across the southwest last year by heating engineers like Mark Redfern in Plymouth.
A heat pump is basically an air conditioning unit, but the way that we use it to heat the house is to put it in reverse. So instead of taking the heat out of your house and putting it outside, it's taking heat out of the air that's outside and putting it into your house through a heat exchanger. If you've got a combi boiler, then you need to find somewhere for your cylinder to go. And that's usually the biggest challenge that we have.
Craig Howie has a home which can be almost entirely run by renewable energy. He had a heat pump installed last year, which receives power from solar panels. Craig was able to get a government grant of £7,500 towards the work and says overall it was cheaper than fitting a new gas boiler.
The cost saving is around about £3,000 a year. In the summer it just ticks over, it heats the hot water, but in the winter we have full control over it and it keeps the house at a constant temperature as opposed to having very hot and then cold. So we don't have any bills now, we've got no gas, so the return on investment is going to be just in a matter of a few years.
Installation costs can still run over £5,000, even for those eligible for grants. And while there are questions around heat pump efficiency in older, less well-insulated homes, those of the UK Committee on Climate Change say those problems can be mitigated.
You don't, in many cases, need to do a huge amount of work to your house to have a heat pump. What we said in our advice to government, though, is basic insulation measures, whether that's draft proofing or loft insulation, can really help these new technologies. Heat pumps are really important in the journey to net zero emissions and in the journey to get off fossil fuels, which are costing us money in the economy. Around 1% of UK households have heat pumps at the moment. We need to see that grow to about half of UK households having heat pumps by 2040.
The government says they aim to have 600,000 heat pumps installed annually by 2028, and homeowners can continue to apply for grants as part of a wider £15 billion Warm Homes plan. But time will tell if the uptake will be enough to decarbonise our homes once and for all. Nick Smith, ITV News.
And we'll be looking at solar panels tomorrow.
Now, next tonight, we know what they say, don't we, about all work and no play, which is why campaigners are calling for primary schools to prioritise playtime.
Yes, Opal, an organisation which works with teachers, says all schools should have an official plan for play. Well, we've been to one in Exeter, which is already feeling the benefits. Lauren Hall reports.
Putting the play into playtime. Over the past few years, things have really stepped up at St Thomas Primary School in Exeter.
Sometimes at lunchtime we come here and climb up some trees, and we also can sometimes go on this rope.
My favourite thing to play is with the dolls and the den building stuff because it helps you with your creativity.
We have a lot of things to play, so if you get bored of one thing, you can just go to another thing the next day.
Their school follows a scheme called Opal, which stands for Outdoor Play and Learning. They now offer all sorts of activities, striking a balance with the philosophy, work hard, play hard.
Children that have had a really active playtime, they've burnt off some of that energy, they are ready to come back into the classroom and focus and crack on with their learning.
Up to a fifth of the school day is taken up with break and lunchtime. That adds up to nearly 1.5 years of a child's life at primary school. It's why campaigners want this for every child, every day. A petition's being launched calling for all primary schools to show their commitment to quality outdoor play.
I wouldn't say it's good for children, I'd say it's absolutely essential for children. And without it, it's not a proper childhood and it's not a proper education.
They know the power of play at this school, where quite a few pupils have learning disabilities and other special educational needs. Offering more to do at break and lunch times means there's something for everyone.
Happy.
It makes you feel happy.
And excited.
And excited. Do you feel quite lucky to have all these different things to play with when you come outside?
Yep.
Those with more complex needs have the option of a separate play area, and this board helps with communication.
More bubbles.
Yasin is autistic and doesn't use speech. His teachers say out here he feels a strong sense of belonging and enjoys spending time with his classmates.
Yasin, you love climbing, don't you? Yasin loves to climb and love to come out and watch all the other children playing and join in.
The government told us it's helping transform school grounds and improve access to high-quality extracurricular activities, telling us we strive to create the healthiest and happiest generation of children ever. To do that, campaigners say we need to turn things around, arguing what goes on in school playgrounds is just as important as what's happening in the classrooms. Lauren Hall, ITV News.
Now that is the UK's largest bird of prey, and it could soon be returning to the West Country after the government approved plans to release them on Exmoor.
Looks like it's about to land on the end of the desk, doesn't it? I would be out of here. Up to 20 white-tailed eagles, which were once extinct in the UK, will be released over a 3-year period. Cathy Wardle reports.
This could become a common sight in the skies over Exmoor. White-tailed eagles, or sea eagles, were once widespread across the UK, but human interference led to their extinction here. Since 2019, a project based on the Isle of Wight, run by Roy Dennis Wildlife Foundation and Forestry England, has proven successful, with the first chick to be born in the wild in England in 240 years. Some of the birds released there have been drawn to Exmoor.
Every bird that we release is satellite tagged, which means we basically know where it is on a minute by minute basis. And we've tracked them all over the country, in some cases to continental Europe. But we've also noted that there's a real hotspot in southwest England and Exmoor in particular. So 14 different birds have spent varying lengths of time on Exmoor. And that just demonstrates that the birds themselves are finding it and showing that it's a really suitable place for them.
Because of that success, Natural England has approved the release of 20 birds on Exmoor over 3 years.
The white-tailed eagle is a really fundamental part of wetland and coastal ecosystems. It plays a really key ecological role, and it's a species that I think is important to remember would be here if it wasn't for the past actions of humans. So this is about restoring a lost bird to an area that we know has an abundance of natural food, and a bird that should really prosper in that landscape.
It seems Exmoor's mix of coast, woodland and wetland is just the right habitat for them. The birds will be tracked long-term to monitor their impact and to see if they can continue to make Exmoor their home. Cathy Wardle, ITV News.
I looked them up. Their nickname is the Flying Barn Doors. You can see why, can't you?
Doors you do not want to walk into.
No, or be pulled away by. Now, it's time for the next episode of My West Country series, where we celebrate our wonderful region. And this time it's the turn of comedian Josh Widdicombe.
Yes, he grew up in the village of Haytor Vale on Dartmoor, and after decades of living away, he's returned to the West Country with his family. Josh is currently on tour with his stand-up show, Not My Cup of Tea. Marina Jenkins went to meet him.
For Josh Widdicombe, Dartmoor represents home. A place which has shaped one of the country's best-known comedians into who he is today.
Josh, what memories do you have of this place?
Loads. So I grew up in a village down in the valley over there called Haytor Vale. And then this, which takes its name from Haytor, which is that tor there. And I grew up basically on Dartmoor. Mainly would come up here when I was a teenager if I was sledging, and that was like the best day of school growing up. And then you didn't really appreciate this as a teenager or growing up, because obviously it felt, A, it was normal, and B, no teenager likes scenery, right? So, and now I love it. You feel so peaceful. There's a quarry. It's just sedate and beautiful.
Should we have a look then?
Let's have a look. I've probably not been in there for 30 years. So if I burst into tears, I do apologise. But I
Got
won't.
the tissues at the ready?
Yeah. This is almost exactly the same as I remember. It's so nice, isn't it? Because it's this, I suppose it's disused kind of granite quarry that has now become a kind of tranquil place on Dartmoor that people come up to.
So life in the village then.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your school.
So there was a school that we used to travel 3 miles to, which is still there, Ilsington School. Had like 40 pupils, tiny, 4 in my year. And then my village, Haytor Vale, we had a post office that has closed down now. But that would sell, you know, sweets in jars by the quarter and all that kind of stuff. And that was kind of the centre of the village. And then there's a pub that's still there, and that was it. You obviously don't know that other people, well, you do know other people live in different places, but you don't consider it.
That's your world.
That's your world, exactly. Your world is tiny when you grow up, wherever you grow up, but I literally grew up somewhere that's tiny.
And sweets are very important.
Sweets were so important. I mean, it sounds like we were living like, you know, at the end of a kind of shipping line or something. But, you know, I remember when she got Mars ice cream bars in the, and it was just like this huge moment because you'd seen them on TV. And that's like, you know, the Beatles will talk about like records coming in from America when they lived in Liverpool in the 50s. This is our equivalent, was like Mars ice cream.
Josh has reached the heights of the comedy world, and he says his career has been influenced by his more remote upbringing.
Weirdly, it made me want to go. I was really excited to leave home and go and experience Manchester, where I went to uni and then moved to London and stuff. But I didn't really realise it was weird until I started doing comedy, and then it is, you know, and it's like, that's helpful. It's helpful because it's, you know, anything to differentiate yourself, I suppose. The more I've gone on in comedy, the more I've identified from where I've come from originally, I think.
So much so that you've moved back down this way.
I've moved back, yeah, we've moved back to Exeter. I just wanted my kids to grow up with a garden and to be able to go out and do stuff and enjoy themselves and it not feel stressful. You don't realise how stressful living in London is until you kind of, I lived there for 20 years and you leave and you're like, oh my God, I can breathe again.
So what's it like being able to give your children now a bit of what you experienced?
It's brilliant. It's so good being here. I absolutely love it and they love it. But you know, maybe when they're teenagers they'll be really angry at this decision.
Not forgetting that Josh is and always will be a Plymouth Argyle fan.
I'm not going to switch allegiance, obviously, but I don't have any, I'm not one of those people that hates Exeter because I'm a Plymouth Argyle fan. I feel a bit of a fondness for them because I like all of the West Country clubs. I know that's an unpopular view, but obviously my son won't come anywhere near an Exeter City shirt, and my daughter's already been very clear to me she hates football.
Whether away on tour, podcasting or filming shows in London, Josh says he always relishes the moment he comes back home.
Josh, what makes the South West so special?
I think it's like no other bit of the UK. I genuinely believe that. The moment the train gets to kind of Taunton, it's just so beautiful to look out the train and know you're going back to the West Country. I absolutely love it. And I used to probably have the opposite view when I was, you know, a teenager, or even in my 20s when I moved away. I was like, I'm never going back there. But I'm old.
You're a changed man.
I'm a changed man. It all catches up with you in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, what a wonderful place to live, right?
Brilliant. Amazing.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Josh.
Thanks for having me. What a lovely place.
I think I like him even more now.
Yeah, wasn't that really
He's
lovely?
So lovely. He's so, so lovely. And welcome back to the West Country.
Yeah.
We made the right decision. We both left London.
We did. And Josh, if you're watching, maybe we could get you a copy of that video so you can show it to your kids when they start complaining about being in the middle of the countryside.
Well, let's see what kind of weather you're going to face. Georgie has your forecast.
Midday Mayan temples, followed by sunny afternoons on the sand. TUI sponsors ITV West Country Weather.
Hello, good evening. Hopefully you've made the most of the weather today. We've actually had some of the driest and sunniest weather across the UK. This was a scene on Lizard Point, the sea thrift, really looking stunning at the moment. However, it is becoming much more unsettled over the next few days and feeling cooler as well as a strong northerly flow begins to pick up. Let me give you the general picture. We've got high pressure at the moment too far out to the west to really have any influence on our weather, and this next area of low pressure is sinking southwards. As that does so, it allows a northerly flow to pick up, so we've got some really chilly Arctic air coming our way tomorrow. Temperature-wise though, tonight actually not looking too bad. We've got enough cloud, enough of a breeze and a few showers rattling through to keep temperatures above freezing. So lows sitting at around 5 or 6 degrees. So for tomorrow morning, fresh first thing, some bright spells. But as the day gets going, highly likely we'll see heavy thundery showers, perhaps merging into longer spells of rain. Some sunny spells in between, but the sunshine, despite the UV levels, not having any effect on the temperatures. It is going to feel chilly with the wind chill as well. Highs of 13, but probably feeling even a few degrees cooler than that. Here are your high waters for tomorrow. Worth mentioning, there is a strong wind warning in place at the moment. Northwesterly winds perhaps reaching up to 4-7. So, on to Friday. A week rich of high pressure thankfully brings something a little bit drier and more settled, but we've still got northerly winds. Largely dry on Saturday, some rain coming our way on Sunday and into next week, staying unsettled, but temperatures gradually beginning to recover.
TUI sponsors ITV West Country Weather.
Making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
Well, currently all pollen levels are low thanks to the fresh Arctic air and unsettled conditions. But a word of warning, the grass pollen season is just beginning to start.
Oh dear.
Never mind, eh? Thank you, Georgie. Right, that's it from the two of us. I'm going to have the late news for you tonight, so if you'd like to join me, 10:30 right here.
After the break, though, the ITV News continues. But for now, goodbye.
Bye.